Minasan konnichiwa. Hi everyone, this is APO Sports and this is my post-game reaction to the Indiana Fever taking on the Dallas Wings. So, so the game yesterday, the Indiana Fever defeated the Dallas Wing 100-93, and again, that is impressive that the Indiana Fever were able to score 100 points on back-to-back games, and this is actually the first time in the franchise history that they've scored 100 points on back-to-back games. So that's just telling you that this offense is just gunning. It's just going right. It's the super fast-paced offense of Mike D'Antoni back in the day. It's just running and let's go, right? It's just a crazy pace that it's kind of difficult to other teams to kind of get used to. Maybe something that they haven't experienced before in the league. I don't know, but it's definitely causing the other teams a lot of problems. So in this game, I mean, really, this was a tough game. This was a really tough game, and I wasn't sure whether the Fever were going to win this game or not. I know there were favorites coming into the game according to the odds makers, but I didn't think so. Before the game started, I didn't think so. This Dallas Wings team, regardless of the record, actually, you have to ignore the record. That record is not this team at all whatsoever, right? They were out without these players, without Sabali, without Howard, for some games without Arikia Gombuwale. They were without these players for a long time, like for most of the season, right? So Sabali just came back right after the Olympic break. That's her first time being back with the team, and I mean, as you can see, she's a beast. She scored 25 points, 4 rebounds. She dropped 4 from 3. She is no kidding a baller. She's a really good player. Same thing with Howard. You can see that she was involved in mostly every action for the Wings. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Dallas Wings here coming up, but I just wanted to highlight that this was a tough game. And it was, as you watch the game, this was tough as the Fever were coming from behind or playing from behind pretty much the entire game. It wasn't really until the fourth quarter that I think they were able to take the lead, and then they never looked back. But they were down, I want to say they were down 10, and then they, even as late as the third quarter, but it was uphill the whole entire time because the Dallas Wings were so talented, but they figured it out. The Fever figured it out. And then just going through the box score, of course, the stars of the game were Caitlin Clark with 28 points, 12 assists, 4 rebounds. The most impressive thing is 10 of 19 from the field. So just another very efficient game. Shooting for Caitlin Clark for 52% and 5 of 11 from 3 for 45%. She just keeps getting better and better. She keeps improving. Her stats just keep ballooning, right? To the point where, and we'll talk about her MVP chances, but if you don't have her at the top of the league, at least top 5, then there's something wrong with your assessment in watching the WNBA, because she's definitely up there right now. And then Kelsey Mitchell, 36 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, super efficient game. 12 of 22 from the field for 54%, 5 of 7 from 3 for 71%. I mean, she's just in one right now, or she's on one right now. She cannot miss. She's super clutch. At the end of the game, she hit that 3, pretty much the game-winning 3 to put the game away, because it was putting the Fever up 4 with less than 2 minutes to go. That seemed like it, right? That seemed to be the nail in the coffin, because after that, they never relinquished that lead ever again. So that was a super important bucket. And then I do want to talk about Aaliyah Boston, because we can point to the stats and say, well, she didn't really have a good game, which, again, I would agree to an extent that she didn't, because she's struggling to kind of find her own shot. She's struggling to make somewhat of an impact offensively, but not an impact in the entire game. I mean, she is so important to what they do on the floor. It's important that they have her there because she constantly makes good decisions with the basketball. Her effect in the game can be felt with her defense and the threat that she provides. So people still have to, people know that Boston can be effective offensively. So it's someone that the defense cannot forget about. So whatever minutes that she's on the floor, they are positive, meaningful, effective minutes. I really think that so Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hall, to me, even though Kaylin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are the best players, I mean, that's not a debate. But if you ask me who are the most important players in the Indiana Fever, I would say it's Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hall right now. Most important as far as winning basketball. Like if you say you remove Aaliyah Boston and Lexi Hall, this team would not be winning all these games. They just would not, because no one else is making the impact that both Boston and Lexi Hall are having in the game. And then, just speaking of Lexi Hall, 6 points. Again, you look at the box score, you're like, well, she didn't do much. She did a lot. It's just 32 solid minutes, 6 points, 1 steal, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. I mean, she's just every minute and second that she's on the court is nothing but positive and plus plus for the Indiana Fever. Again, today, I mean, she's the plus minus queen, right? Today, +9 on the court in 32 minutes. Same thing with Boston, +9 on the court in 32 minutes. And only Damaris Dantas, who came off the bench and again provides solid minutes. And we'll talk about the lineup once we start talking about Christie Sides here in a little bit. But Dantas was +11 on the floor. The minutes that she provides, incredible minutes. And then Alyssa Smith. So I think, her minutes were contained, and we'll talk a little bit more about her here in a little bit. But 14 points, which were really good, 14 points. So they were good, solid 21 minutes. But 14 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. So she also had a really good game. But all of this goes into my next point, which is Coach Sides. So Christie Sides, she has improved so much. I've been so critical of Christie Sides this whole entire season. So at the beginning of the season, she could not figure out, I mean, the team as a whole could not really figure out their identity. They were struggling with different things, right? Like, who are my rotation players? They didn't know who their rotation players were going to be. And to Christie Sides' credit, a lot of these players were new to the team. I think, Fagbinelli is new. Katie Lou is new. Dantas, who they just picked up from free agency, is new. Kaylin Clark, of course, new to the team. So it's a lot of new players trying to play with all these other players that were there before, but who were not that effective because they were not winning games. So they didn't have enough time to really figure out what the rotations were going to be. Who is best playing with, again, the best rotations, like who's best suited to play with who, all of these different things. They didn't have enough time to figure out. So of course you're going to start 1 of 8 in the season. But now I think we're at a good point where we're understanding kind of like, who belongs on the court. And at what times in the game they belong on the court. But I feel like she took too long to kind of figure this thing out as who your most valuable players on the court were. But today it was a really good display of her understanding the lineups, the rotations, when to call timeouts, adjustments. I thought today she did an incredible job. I was really mostly impressed with her job as a coach today, with her rotations, with her lineup. Really, really solid work. I was kind of worried in the third quarter because we had Katie Lou, Alyssa Smith, and Erica Wheeler all on the court at the same time without Lexi Hall, without Aaliyah Boston, and I think that's a recipe for disaster. I think Katie Lou Samuelson is a really good player, and I think she's a really good shooter. So she's important to have in the game and to be part of the rotation, but it's important that you know when to bring it in and with what other players she should be playing with on the court. So I don't think she should be in the game if Lexi Hall and Aaliyah Boston are not on the floor, because otherwise, she's one that tends to make mental mistakes here and there. And then if you combine her with Alyssa Smith, who also makes tons of mental mistakes here and there, I mean, she's really good, right? And Alyssa Smith she'll, you know, for sure stuff the stat sheet every day. She could average 20 points. I'm not, maybe more. I have no doubt of that. But I don't think she constantly makes winning plays when she's on the floor. Today she was a -2. So you also have to be, I think, for Katie Lou and Alyssa Smith, for those two players in particular, you really have to be mindful of who is on the court with them. And it has to be so. So now, I've been saying, okay, now Alyssa Smith maybe should come off the bench, but I actually like her playing with these players who start. So playing with Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hall, and Smith, that's good. That's good. It's just the problem is whenever you bring her in, and Boston or Lexi Hall are not on the court, and Alyssa Smith is, that's a problem. You're gonna be losing. Yeah, you're gonna start get ready to be down by 20, because that's just not a good combination. And the same thing, I think, in my opinion, with Katie Lou Samuelson. Just don't bring her in if Boston or Lexi Ho are not on the court. So yeah, the third quarter was bad with the rotations. So I started to be, I got on Twitter and I started to be extremely critical of Christie Sides. And then the fourth quarter started, and now I'm even more critical because she still had that lineup in the game, and you can see that the Dallas Wings were kind of separating a little bit. And then she figured it out. I saw the moment where she was about to bring, I think she was about to bring back Lexi Hall, because Lexi Hall, I felt like she hadn't, I'm like, in the third quarter, I'm like, where is Lexi Hall? Bring Lexi Hall. So, and then Boston were also on the bench. I don't think you can ever have both of them off the court or off of the floor at the same time. You cannot. I've been saying this. You can't do that. So, I think 9-minute mark, around the 9-minute mark in the fourth quarter, she finally, I can see that she brought in Lexi Hall and Leah Boston coming off. And then we're going to substitute both Katie Lou and Alyssa Smith. And after that, it was lights out. That's the lineup. That's the most optimal winning lineup for the Indiana Fever is the following: Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hall, and Damaris Dantas. That's it. That is your optimal lineup if you want to win games, however you close games. I don't care if it's with 7 minutes remaining, 6 minutes remaining in the game. That has to be your lineup. You can be, depending on how the game is flowing. No. You should already know that's your 5. That's your closing 5. Forget everybody else. That's your most optimal lineup. And I haven't even looked at advanced analytics, whatever it is that, kind of shows you the plus minus with different lineup combination. I haven't looked none of that shit. I've only looked at my eyes, or I've been, whatever I'm looking through my eyes. And that is it. Whenever that personnel, that lineup is on the floor, they're going to make a positive impact. So that's what they need moving forward. And I'm glad that she was able to realize that, right? She realized it. She just went, and she was riding with that lineup all the way to the end of the game. Excellent call. Great game. Great performance by Christie Sides. I think, I am actually warming up a lot more to her because she's learning, right? And even then Alyssa Smith, because I've been critical as to how she's playing her. And I say maybe she shouldn't play more than 20 minutes. Today she played 22 minutes, but I think it was a smart way to deploy her, because 22 minutes, I mean, somewhere around there, right? She can't play more than 25. I think that's too much, and you're going to be losing tons of games. But 22 minutes, under 25, around there, and especially since she was hitting her shots, right? She was efficient. She was grabbing rebounds. She was scoring. So I think in those games, even though she ended up being a -2, but if she's providing some scoring, steals, rebounds, then you're okay. You can leave her for a little bit longer than that, and not be and not cause too much damage. But yeah, no, excellent decision, an excellent job by Christie Sides. So now I want to move on to Lisa Leslie. So Lisa Leslie posted a tweet that, some people, I could see some mixed reactions in the comments. And here's what she said. She said, "I don't care what comparisons you make. Both Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark deserve the Rookie of the Year award. The pressure and the weight of this season has forever changed the WNBA, and both rookies rose to the top and exceeded all our expectations. Take a bow, ladies. Okay, so I have to make 2 points with this tweet or about this tweet. The first one being that I kind of agree with Lisa Leslie. And I'm a huge Caitlin Clark fan, and I'm gonna get before people lose their minds. Please let me explain. Um, do they both deserve Rookie of the Year? And I don't think I'm not reading it. I'm reading it a little bit different than how most people were replying to this tweet, right? I'm just reading it as deserving, and I'm gonna get to that word because I hate that word with a passion. The word deserving and what it means and what it entails, and I'm getting to that. I'm gonna get to that. But yes, I can agree that they both deserve it, but that they both deserve it does not mean that they both should win it. And I don't think that's what she's saying. I don't think she's saying, I think they both should win Rookie of the Year award. They both deserve it. They've both done enough to deserve Rookie of the Year award. And I would also argue that Rikia Jackson also deserves Rookie of the Year award. She's done enough to merit Rookie of the Year. Does not mean they're gonna win it, right? I think what she was trying to say is, yeah, Caitlin Clark's gonna win it and should win it, but these other players are deserving. I mean, shit, Cameron Brink probably deserves Rookie of the Year as well. It's not her fault that she got injured. When she was in, she was doing okay, right? So did she do enough work? And again, the problem with this deserving shit, which I'm gonna get into, is super arbitrary, right? Like, who's making these rules as to who deserves what? So in the deserving piece, yes, they've put up enough numbers. They've worked extremely hard. They've performed extremely well. They've changed the game forever as far as bringing new fans, and the ratings are going crazy, and attendance records. All of these things with these two ladies, I agree that they are deserving. Now let's talk about the word deserve, because I think this word should be eliminated and erased from the English language and any language. Whatever the equivalent of deserving is in any other language should be out. I mean, I don't think there's a more toxic word in the world than deserving, right? This just implies that the world owes you something, or that someone owes you something. That's whenever people throw around, oh, I deserve a pay raise. I deserve a promotion over so and so. Who are you to say whether or not you deserve a certain outcome? That's not how shit works. Shit does not work. You work hard, therefore you deserve promotion. That's not how shit works. Even at work, like if you work for a certain company, whatever the case may be, and you feel in your heart that you're working harder than someone who got the promotion over you, and you're like, oh, I deserve it over them. Really? Why? Have you considered what the other person is putting in? How they're working, what other things they may be doing that leadership or management sees in them that they don't see in you? What is this deserving shit? It actually pisses me off a little bit. And like in this video, for instance, I feel like I put a lot of love, a lot of passion, a lot of hours into making this one video, right? I could say, I deserve this video, this video should get 5,000 views. I deserve it. But that's not how life works. That's not how the world works. Hard work does not define outcome. It just does not, right? Life just in the world determines who's going to be successful and who's not. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with, with hard work, which are the things that you can control. You can take care of the things that you can control. But just because you believe that you're working harder than someone else or outperforming someone else does not mean that you deserve anything. It really does not. And I hate it when that shit happens. They were also making this comparison about AJ Wilson and Caitlin Clark. Like whenever Caitlin Clark was getting all this attention and AJ Wilson was getting no attention, like, oh, look at AJ Wilson. She's putting all these crazy numbers. She deserves the same attention. She does not deserve it. People determine who they want to watch. People have recognized that AJ Wilson is an amazing player. I've recognized that AJ Wilson is an amazing player. But I don't feel like watching her games. I just don't. I just don't want to watch them. I'm not saying they're boring or whatever. I just nothing about her game causes me to want to sit, on the couch in front of the TV to watch her games. I don't want to do that. Does she deserve that? I don't know, but really, do we operate based on what someone deserves? Like now, I gotta watch the game because she deserves it. No, that's not how it works. People determine who they want to watch, what they want to watch, who is successful. Going back to this video, if one person watches it, am I going to be mad? I could be mad. Oh, I deserve 5,000 views. I have the best freaking commentary in the whole entire WNBA. I put a lot of work into this. I put more work into this than, whoever is getting the most views. I could say that. But if this video at the end of the day gets one view, it is what it is. That's how life works. I don't deserve it. The world does not owe me anything at all whatsoever. So if I feel like I'm good at this, I'll continue to do it along. And even if nobody watches it, I need to be happy just with me putting in the work to put the best product that I feel like I can put out there. And if people watch it, great. And if people don't watch it, that's awesome as well. And then guess what? If people don't want to watch my videos and I'm putting all this work, then maybe this shit ain't for me. At the end of the day, maybe I need to go do something else, you know? Um, which I have for the majority of my life. But anyways, that's just the approach, and that's what I hate the most about the word deserve is that it is toxic in nature and that it puts a lot of people in a tough spot. And again, like if it's a company, please don't do this to your bosses and don't be this person at work who feels like they deserve everything. And now the boss has to feel like shit because you're over here like, oh, I deserve everything. And they're like, oh, I wish I could fire this person, but I can't. Right. Because the moment that you do that, so say you're seeing that and your bosses are not seeing the same as you as far as deserving that promotion, because there could be a disconnect. But now here you're complaining, you're talking about other people. Now you have other workers who may be against leadership who are with you, and you're just creating a toxic environment by just trying to say that you deserve some shit that you don't. And now leadership and management is a tough position and they can't wait to fire your ass. But they have to be careful because then it could be retaliation and all this other bullshit. They have to wait for you to slip up one time so they can fire your ass. Because if it's me and I'm the fucking supervisor or the leader of management, whatever it is, and you talk about deserving something or someone else deserving something and I'm not seeing the same thing you're seeing, like maybe if I overlooked it, but don't approach it as deserving, just approach it like, hey, this person has been killing it. This person's been doing this. They did all this stuff. They did all these things for the team. If you haven't seen that, I just want to let you know. But not in oh, this person deserves a promotion. I'm like, you know what? Both of you are fired. Fuck out of here. I hate that word. I really hate that word. I can't stand it, man. I cannot stand it. We need to stop with this bullshit of deserving. The world doesn't owe you anything. The people decide. Leadership will decide. Your peers will decide. The audience, in the case of entertainment, will decide who they watch, who they make successful, and who they don't. That's it. That's all it is. All right, so done with the deserving stuff, I think. Um, and just really quick going back on the AJ Wilson thing, I'm not saying she's not a really good player. The only thing is trying to make fans bad or like Stephen, like what was it? Monica McNutt trying to make Stephen A. Smith make him feel bad about not covering AJ Wilson because she's killing it and she's deserving of this attention. She's not. She wasn't. She wasn't. She probably will win MVP. Does she deserve it? Who cares? Who cares if she deserves it or not? But she probably will win because she's putting in the time, she's putting in the numbers. The numbers are hella impressive. Like you can't really argue with what she's doing. Like right now, she's number one, in my opinion, in MVP. Deserving, who cares, man? Who cares? She deserves it. She deserves your eyeballs. Fuck. All right, so MVP. Speaking of AJ Wilson, MVP right now, unless something crazy, really crazy happens, AJ Wilson is the 2024 WNBA MVP. Hands down. Hands down. I'm not arguing with that. It doesn't matter if I don't watch her. It doesn't matter. That's my problem. That's my problem. She's the MVP. She's the MVP. I don't know what to tell you. Today, what she had 41 points, 17 rebounds. That is nuts. Um, she's nuts. She's the best player. But the Aces are not doing well. So the Aces, here's why I thought this was kind of closer. Although now I'm like, damn, like it's hard to argue with it. But like the damn Aces are underperforming like crazy. Okay, they're 20-12, which isn't too bad. 20-12 is good. So I won't. And I was thinking maybe if Kaylin Clark and the Indiana Fever were to move up in the standings above the Aces, then I was like, maybe Kaylin Clark should be the MVP. But I don't know. We'll see. But nonetheless, the Aces are underperforming and the Fever are overperforming. But should Clark be MVP? Probably no, but I think she's second at this point in the season. I think she is second. And that's crazy to think because at the beginning, right, the argument was, and it just goes back to the Olympics, right? Like, did she deserve to be, here we go with the damn word deserve. Did she deserve to be in the Olympic team? Who cares? I don't know. Was she better than these ladies? Yeah. Now the answer is pretty clear that yeah, she was better than all of them. And at that time, they were like, no, there's no way. Who would you take out? All of these different, take them all out, except AJ Wilson. Take them all out. I don't care. Plug in Kaylin Clark. And in addition to the production, because she's the better player, the best player outside of AJ Wilson. And then what she would have brought to the Olympic team, the all the attention, the attendance, the ratings, everything like that, growing the game of the women's basketball. All that would have been great, but I'm glad that she didn't do the Olympics because you can tell that it made a difference. She was able to get some rest. She was able to get some practice. She was able to build some chemistry with some of the Indiana Fever players. And you can also see how her not being part of the Olympic team helped her teammates because I feel like Lexi Hall has come back better. Kelsey Mitchell has come back better. All of these players came back better than before the All-Star break, before the Olympic break, and the chemistry between Kelsey Mitchell and Kaylin Clark, that's the most important one, and they were able to do that. So although yes, right now we can look back at everything that was happening as far as justification for Kaylin Clark being in the Olympic team, and now we can say yeah, she belonged there. She's the second best player right now in the WNBA. I don't care about anything else that you have to say about that. Right now, she is 9th in scoring in the league. She's 1st in assists in the league. She's top 15 in a bunch of different categories. I mean, she's breaking all kinds of records left and right. All the rookie records like you can imagine. A bunch of like all-time WNBA, just, not just rookie, but all records. She's going to break the assist record. She has now the most double-double in a season by a guard in WNBA history. Now that's significant. That's very different than just going in there and getting your rebounds, right? This is you getting everybody involved. A lot harder to get assists than it is to get rebounds. I mean, she is just having a monster rookie year. She is top 2 in the MVP. So when MVP voting comes out, she better be number 2. And she better be a WNBA, all WNBA first team. She has to be first team. They're not the second team. Like who? Which guard is better than Kaylin Clark? Like what guard is better than her right now? Nobody. Not Sabrina. Definitely not Sabrina. Sabrina's great. I love Sabrina. I'm a Sabrina Ionescu fan. I really am. I almost actually got into the WNBA when Sabrina was drafted, but then I was like, like the momentum as far as my fandom, then it kind of, the fire died pretty quickly. But with Caitlin Clark, it's just getting stronger and stronger. But yeah, no, Caitlin Clark easily better than Sabrina. What she's doing for the Fever, what her numbers are much better across the board than Sabrina. Sabrina kind of leads in scoring, but not by much. Only by 0.8 leads in scoring. Like, I think Sabrina right now is at 19.5 points per game, and Caitlin Clark is at 18.7 points per game. So she might even take her on that. After that, she leads her in every category. In field goal percentage, in 3-point percentage, in assists per game, in rebounds per game, in steals per game. I mean, you can just go down the line on every category that Caitlin Clark is better than Sabrina on. And I mean, it's endless. So come on. Nope. Kindly put Sabrina number 2 on second team All NBA, because Caitlin Clark firmly belongs in the first team if you're talking about guard play. So what's next for the Fever? They play the Sparks on, well, my Thursday. I live in Japan, so it's kind of different for me, but I know it's y'all's Wednesday night where they play again, like I said, against the Sparks. And it's in Indiana, so they're going to have a bunch of games in a row. I think they have 5 games in a row now that are going to be played in Indiana, which is great, and it should only improve their standings, hopefully. But again, right now, I don't take any game for granted. All of these teams are dangerous at any given time, regardless of their records. But we'll see. I think at this point, if we're looking at the standings, I'm looking to see like what their first round matchup is going to be, because they're gonna seal the playoff spot here pretty soon. But right now, if the season ended today, they play Minnesota, and that is scary. You don't want to play Minnesota. But also, like, if they move up to the 5th spot, they play the Aces, and you don't want to play the Aces. I mean, all these teams in the top 4 and 5 are really, really, really good. But I still think the Fever can beat any one of them. But, it's a best of 3, so a lot of room for, for anything to happen at this point. But anyway, that's it. That's my post-game reaction. Let me know what you thought about all these topics in the comments below. If you have anything to add, or if I'm just crazy over here just talking nonsense, let me know too. I appreciate your feedback. If there's something that, whether in the audio or something that I should do differently moving forward, please let me know as well. I do value your feedback and your input, and I do appreciate a lot of you that watched my previous video. That kind of went crazy for me, right? It got a bit like 3,000 views. So I'm super appreciative of anyone that clicked, of anyone that commented, anyone that liked it, anyone that subscribed. So a ton of subscribers. Like, before that video, I had 1 subscriber. After that video, I had like 43 subscribers. So thank you so much for that. But that's it for this one. I'll see you next time.